Hey YouTube, John here, back with another review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Yu Xiang 688A4 mini drone. Now, to be honest, before CNDirect reached out to me about this little nano, it wasn't even close to being on my radar. But after a few weeks of flying this thing, I gotta say I'm thoroughly impressed with both the performance and the build quality. Now, the ready to fly package comes complete with the quadcopter, transmitter, USB charging cable, and a full set of spare props. All you're going to need is two AAA batteries for the transmitter and you're ready to go. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the Gen H7, this transmitter is laid out the exact same way. You have your trim buttons up here on the shoulders, so you have forward and back trim on the right, and then left and right trim on the left, and they've moved your rate and flip buttons here to the bottom right. It's a little awkward when you're flying, but you do eventually get used to it. So this left button here is your flip button, and it is labeled, but it's hard to see. There we go, see if I can get in the light. But anyways, this bottom left one is your flip button, and you will push it once and the quadcopter will enter flip mode. At that point you input which direction you want to flip. It'll do one flip and come out of flip mode. One cool thing that I did notice though is if you hold the stick in the direction that you're flipping in, the quadcopter will flip over and over and over again until you let go. So it's kind of a cool feature. Next to the flip button is your rates, and you have a total of 3 rates with only one yaw rate, but the yaw rate is actually a pretty good speed, so that's really not a problem at all. And then finally, pushing the left stick in will enter the quadcopter in a headless mode. And I found the headless mode is pretty much on par with the other brands. It works fairly well at first, but ultimately it loses its accuracy pretty quickly. Now the last thing I want to cover with the transmitter is accelerometer calibration. You're going to go ahead and bind the quadcopter to the transmitter. Then you're going to take both sticks and move them down right. You'll see the back lights in the quadcopter flash, and that's going to indicate the accelerometers have been calibrated. Now moving to the quadcopter, you can see that it has like a mini Cheerson CX-20 kind of look to it. So I mean, nothing new, but really a neat design. I really like the look of it. And the first thing that stood out to me when I took this out of the box is how well built it felt. And it sounds strange and it's hard to explain, but it just doesn't feel like cheap plastic when you hold it. It just feels like it's well built. But anyways, the prop guards are molded into the body, so they're not removable, but they work really well, and the quadcopter flies great with them on, so I really don't see any need for them to be removable. They're fairly stiff, and they feel like they break easily, but I found they're actually pretty durable. There's no carpet anywhere in my house, so every crash this thing's taken been on hardwood, and not one of them is cracked yet, so they're definitely pretty durable. The quadcopter also has 4 very bright LEDs, one on the end of each motor pod with blue in the front, red in the back, and like I said, they're super bright, so this thing's a great night flyer. It's real easy to keep your orientation at night. The on-off switch and charging port are located here at the rear of the quadcopter, and like most of these tiny charging ports, it'll only plug in one way, so aligning it can be difficult at times. So typically what I'll do is I'll locate the arrow on the top of the plug and color that end with a Sharpie. And that way I know when I pick this thing up that that's the top. Just makes life a little bit easier for me. And speaking of charging, there's an internal 100 milliamp hour battery that charges in 20 minutes. So pretty fast charging time. And with that, you can expect roughly 3.5 minute flight times with a 40-second low voltage warning. So you got plenty of time to safely land this thing before it lands itself. That about covers everything, so let's take it for a flight. All right, we're in the kitchen here. We'll do a quick flight test. We'll start it off in low rates. So there's full low rate pitch. And like I said, it's only got one yaw rate. And there's the full yaw. So yaw's not too slow. It's definitely fast enough to fly around without a problem. We'll switch it up into mid rates. And you can see it really picks up in mid rates. So this is the rate that I like to fly around in. It's fast enough to have fun inside the house without being out of control. And then here's high rates, and you can see high rates gets, oh there we go, high rates gets pretty quick. You can get a little, see if we can get a little funnel going here. You're not going to get super tight funnels going, but not too bad. You know, the yaw could stand to be a tad bit faster here at high rates, but really nothing to complain about. Back in the low rates, we'll try some flips. Do a back flip. You see it flips nice and quick and recovers well. Do a side flip again. And like I said, if you hold the flip button, it'll continue to flip. We did 3 flips there right in a row, so definitely pretty cool. I mean, all in all, this definitely is a fun little quadcopter to fly around. Like I said, I was thoroughly impressed. I didn't know what to expect, and sometimes that's the best way to go into something, you know, not having any expectations. I hadn't really seen any reviews of this and just went right at it. And like I said, just impressed with it. I definitely suggest, if this one interests you, I definitely suggest picking one up. But yeah, that about covers everything. I hope this video was helpful to someone. If it was, please give it a thumbs up. Definitely leave a comment down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.